This woman should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt. She wanted to distract from her email scandal. She cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent in order to distract from her own legitimate scandal. She made up a scandal about Trump being a Russian asset. And they banked on the intel agencies working with her to perpetuate this lie, and it appears they were only too happy to assist.
What happens when a reputation built on power, polish, and practiced answers runs straight into Megyn Kelly's sharp focus? Total meltdown. Hillary Clinton came in wrapped in years of political protection, but Megyn showed up with facts, timing, and humor that cut straight through the act. No soft punches, no fake praise, just a clear takedown happening live. This wasn't a joke or a roast. It was a moment of truth. And Hillary clearly didn't expect the spotlight to turn on her that fast.
We now know how Russiagate got started, and we know that it was all a lie started by the Hillary Clinton campaign. That the Hillary Clinton campaign realized she was in trouble because of her email scandal, which had broken in 2015 in the wake of Benghazi. We found these emails of hers that were weird, and people were like, what server was that on, and so on. And it created a problem for her all the way up to...
Hillary Clinton walks into every appearance with the shadow of old scandals right behind her, carrying mistakes that still feel wrapped in entitlement. Megyn Kelly didn't just step into that mess. She showed up with a bright spotlight, a loud microphone, and sarcasm sharp enough to break through Hillary's rehearsed smiles. At this point, Hillary isn't really a politician anymore. She feels like a rerun, playing on repeat in the background while still acting like she's the main attraction.
A bit more of a description. Here's a part, I won't make you watch the whole, a part of the trailer for Gutsy.
Okay, here we go. We're hitting the road to shine a light on women who inspire us to be bolder and braver.
Leadership doesn't look one way. It's a giant rainbow.
You're not gonna break me down. You'll get worn out before I do.
Women who push us outside our comfort zone.
If you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Megyn didn't have to search hard to find the cracks. Hillary's record is full of political mistakes, served cold with deleted emails and plenty of blame passed around. Watching Hillary talk about leadership feels like watching a GPS panic after someone drives straight into a lake. And Megyn Kelly, she's sitting in the back seat, calmly asking why anyone trusted this driver with the keys at all.
So Hillary Clinton is now pretending like she did not call Donald Trump an illegitimate president when he beat her in 2016. She's expressing her horror and how indignant she is over him challenging the 2020 election results. And okay, that's fine. You can say you don't like how Trump behaved after, whatever, his loss, January 6th, the whole bit. But you cannot, if you are Hillary Clinton, play the whatever challenge and elect.
There's a strange kind of comedy in watching Hillary cling to relevance, patching together a comeback held up by podcast appearances, college talks, and smug interviews. Megyn had no interest in being polite. She lit the match and let the carefully built image fall apart right in front of everyone. Hillary's idea of leadership is the kind that makes people miss silence, showing up as a walking reminder of political mistakes most people wish had stayed buried.
This is you guys, but just for the record, let's play SOT 10.
I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. And as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
She doesn't really campaign anymore. She just hangs around like an annoying pop-up begging you to sign up for failure. And Megyn treated every moment of that hanging around like a comedy skit waiting for a punchline. The Clinton Foundation? That's not a foundation. It's a display of missed chances dressed up as charity work. And every time Hillary talks about integrity, irony trips somewhere in the universe and crashes face first into a stack of classified papers.
And as she got closer to Election Day, she decided to concoct 2 lies about Donald Trump to distract from her email scandal. She got the Steele dossier through this Fusion GPS company that her campaign paid, and she got this group CrowdStrike, which was the one responsible for the hack into that's the one that said that the Russians hacked.
Megyn Kelly didn't need to exaggerate anything. She just held up a mirror, and the absurdity came spilling out like a clown car full of bad choices. Hillary's moral compass spins like a slot machine, and whenever it stops, it always lands on deflect. She's the type to burn bridges and then give speeches about unity, weaving around a talk titled, "Why I Should Have Won." Megyn simply pointed at the mess and asked how many times history has to say no thanks before you finally listen. The funniest part, Hillary still thinks she's feared, not just remembered. Feared like some final boss in an old political video game. But the cheat codes are out, the graphics are breaking down, and the soundtrack is just her blaming Russia, sexism, the weather, and even gravity for losing. Megyn sliced through that spin like a hot knife through cheap nonsense. There's normal denial, and then there's Hillary, a perfect example of self-branding with no charm and endless contradictions. And remember her trying to act relatable? Like switching a pantsuit for a flannel shirt could erase decades of careful dodging and polished smirks.
Hillary Clinton just weighed in publicly again on why she lost. And just in case you were thinking it was because she didn't go to Wisconsin, you are wrong. It is you, women of America. It is your fault. She now sits down for an interview and decides that the reason she didn't win is American females. That they didn't like that she wasn't.
Megyn Kelly turned the whole act into a late-night comedy sketch, the kind that feels like it was written by a room full of out-of-touch interns. Hillary walks into interviews like the world owes her a thank you note just for being alive at the same time as everyone else. Megyn grabbed that inflated ego and smashed it like a piñata, blindfold on, swinging hard, cracking it open with whip sharper than anything in Hillary's policy folder. Hillary talks about transparency the way a magician talks about secrets, with a smile and a hidden trapdoor. But Megyn never blinked. Every Hillary speech comes loaded with more footnotes than a tax audit, while Megyn skipped to fine print and laughed at what was right in front of everyone. If the truth is anywhere in that mess, it's buried behind firewalls, wrapped in red tape, and locked under layers of excuses. Then there's the trail she leaves behind. Staffers, donors, alliances, even whole regions that voted once and never came back. Hillary treats public support like a short-term rental, and Megyn turned that rental contract into a joke. Because nothing says I care about the people quite like $250,000 speeches to banks, followed by tweets about wage equality from the comfort of a private jet.
Hillary Clinton decided to drop an op-ed in the New York Times today that's entitled, "How much dumber will this get?" And she uses Signalgate and the messaging by Pete Hegseth and Mike Walls and JD Vance and Tulsi and others on there as the jumping off point to talk about how dumb the Trump administration is. Some highlights. She calls the Trump...
And then there's the constant switching. One day she's a bold progressive, the next a careful centrist, then suddenly a feminist icon, followed by a global expert with the warmth of a frozen spreadsheet. Megyn Kelly didn't just call out that inconsistency. She strapped it to a rocket and sent it straight into Fantasyland, where Hillary supporters still think 2016 was just a paperwork mistake. Her campaign plan has always been reboot and rebrand, except the product never changes and the slogans sound tired, like history itself is sighing. Watching her pass the blame feels like sitting through slow-motion interpretive dance. Megyn didn't interrupt. She let the show play out, then reviewed it with the joy of someone who's waited years for the curtain to finally fall. The routine is old, the moves are rehearsed, and even the spotlight looks worn out. Megyn simply held up a mirror and let the audience see who forgot the steps. Hillary's grip on power is like a child shaking an empty piggy bank, hoping one last coin drops out. Megyn didn't need to push. The image of control collapsed on its own. And for someone who claims to unite people, Hillary has mastered division. When she enters the room, the mood shifts: confusion, fatigue, and pure performance. Megyn Kelly just grabbed a bullhorn and made sure the punchline echoed loud enough for everyone to hear.
Are Gutsy. And in case you just need a little bit more of a description, here's a part, I won't make you watch the whole, a part of the trailer for Gutsy.
Okay, here we go. We're hitting the road to shine a light on women who inspire us to be bolder and braver.
Leadership doesn't look one way. It's a giant rainbow.
You're not gonna
The real comedy comes from her obsession with legacy. Hillary wants to be remembered as the one who broke barriers, but all she's really done is gather the broken pieces in a corner and charge people just to look at them. Megyn cut through that glass monument and found nothing but recycled slogans and stale press releases. Hillary dreams of history books, but all she's handing out are footnotes and skipped pages. And she's not shy about being in the mix. She's knee-deep, tossing jabs from the sidelines like a sports commentator who forgot the rules. Megyn turned that play-by-play into a blooper reel. Every tweet, speech, and smug grin after dodging accountability felt like a sitcom with the laugh track removed. Megyn just sat back, eyebrow raised, sipping cold, hard facts while pointing out all the plot holes. Hillary keeps showing up like the answer to a question nobody has asked since 2016. Her platform now comes down to passive-aggressive interviews and book tours that sell about as well as decorative paperweights.
Let's talk politics for a minute. Hillary Clinton is back doing a late night tour. She spoke with Jimmy Fallon and she had some thoughts on this boiling down to Trump versus Biden again.
What do you say to voters who are upset that those are the two choices?
Get over yourself. Those are the two choices.
Yeah, love that.
Right? And
good.
you know, it's kind of like one is old and effective and compassionate, has a heart, and really cares about people. And one is old and has been charged with 90.
Megyn Kelly didn't just take apart the brand, she exposed the whole business model. Power built on nostalgia, strategy based on memory, and relevance based on sheer volume. And every time Hillary tried to twist the story, Megyn was already there, flipping through receipts and pointing at the fine print. Some people think Hillary is untouchable because she's been through so much. Sure, if so much means decades of careful ambition, non-stop image control, and expertly dodging real consequences. Megyn tore that myth apart like it came straight from a press release. She didn't make fun of the struggles, she made fun of the spin. There's a huge difference between real resilience and rehearsed deflection, and Hillary has been performing the latter since long before smartphones existed. Megyn didn't need to attack her. Hillary wrote the role, directed the play, and handed out the programs herself. All Megyn did was point out the plot twist that never arrived. Watching Hillary try to reinvent herself every few years is like sitting through a reboot nobody asked for. Same script, just brighter lights. Megyn pulled back the curtain, exposed the camera crew, and reminded everyone, if the ending never changes, maybe the story was never that good to begin with.
Joe and Kamala can win by 3 million votes and still lose. Take it from me. So we need numbers overwhelming so Trump can't sneak or steal his way to victory.
Okay. So why can't a smart guy like Maher know that? I mean, he genuinely seemed surprised to hear this from me. He doesn't, I think it's just his true hatred.
And the irony? Hillary still thinks the microphone belongs to her. She steps onto the stage with that old school confidence, pitching policy ideas like they weren't already rejected years ago. Megyn Kelly didn't even need to argue. She just stepped in and showed what happens when style tries to outlast substance. The crowds have moved on. The tune is off key, and the applause house sounds like echoes from rallies long gone. The roast isn't finished. Hillary is still clinging to the spotlight, trying to script another act, while Megyn has already rolled out the blooper reel, the behind-the-scenes footage, and the script supervisor facepalming in the corner. Somewhere between campaign memoirs and awkward photo ops, reality hits. Hillary Clinton isn't the future. She's the punchline waiting to happen. And Megyn made sure everyone got a front row seat. Hillary still walks into rooms like fate stole the presidency from her, like destiny left her on red. But Megyn never let that fantasy live. She crushed it with a decade's worth of reality checks and a closet full of unanswered questions. Because Hillary's real talent hasn't been fixing scandals, it's surviving them.
She created this entire storyline around the Russians doing these terrible things in tandem with Donald Trump in order to, yes, hurt Trump, but also mostly to distract from her own scandal. And we also know that Obama knew. He knew about it. He was told by his intelligence agencies in the late summer and fall of 2016.
Megyn didn't just revisit those scandals. She dug them up, lit the fuse, and turned them into a fireworks show of political absurdity. There isn't a version of Hillary that hasn't been tested by a team of consultants. Every haircut, every speech inflection, every forced attempt at a viral soundbite. It's all factory-made, packaged like a product launch. But Megyn stripped it down to the basics. Behind the branding is someone who's rewritten her own story more times than she's ever answered a straight question. And that's where the roast hit hardest, right in the middle of the carefully crafted myth. Hillary isn't feared anymore. She's been studied, dissected, and mocked. Megyn made that painfully clear. Whatever mystery once surrounded her has melted under endless comebacks and rare answers. She's not a phoenix, she's a rerun, and each supposed rise comes with less fire and more stage smoke. The political world has already moved on. New players, new drama, fresh disasters. Yet there stands Hillary, still auditioning for a role that's already been canceled. Megyn didn't have to yell. She just walked through the wreckage and pointed at the empty spotlight. And that's the sting. Hillary built a legacy she can't escape, a name now more punchline than promise. In the end, Megyn didn't just destroy the myth. She reminded everyone why nobody's buying the sequel.